Hi everybody, Happy New Year. Welcome to week 1 from the first month of the Let's Play 2025 free block of the month I'm doing this year. And so if you haven't watched the previous 3 videos, which if you're going to play along, I suggest you do, because there's the introduction one, the more information, and the getting ready, and they all have valuable things you'll want to know. But our reveal for today is the colors we're going to be playing with in January are brown and red. And as I mentioned in the getting ready video, it was actually this fabric sitting in a bundle with these scraps for well over a decade. Like before I moved here even, I had this bundle with this that I really wanted to do something with, but I had never done it. They're only tiny little pieces. These inspired the whole block of the month this year. When I came up with the idea of making a small project using these, and because of my bits and bobs collage quilt, I've got collage on my mind. I'm really loving collaging. Yeah, so that's how this all came to be. So these are the brown and red fabrics that are going to inspire my block this month. And I already kind of know what I want to. Well, I don't. I mean, I don't have a full out plan. That's the whole point of playing. But I have a kind of map or guide that I think I want to go down. But that could change. So just to give you an example, I'm going to pull in my green and pink thing. I hope you're not sick of this one. I still love it. It hangs up over there. When I did this one, let's pretend that we're doing green and pink. When I knew that about what I was doing, I started with a main motif. So I had this square of fabric with the little Sunbonnet Sue and overall bill, and I knew I wanted to kind of feature that on this. It was green and pink. It was perfect colors. And so pulling out from that, I pulled fabrics from my collection that match that were green and pink, that suited the theme, even like the little hearts here, and they're all sweet. And so then from there I built it from there. I went through some other fabric, and I had these sewing they had sewing pictures on them, so I cut those motifs out, and after I placed my background, knowing I wanted the feature piece here, then I basted it down and started doing the stitching. Then from there, built from the pieces that I had pulled from my collection. Like I had this trim and I put it there, and actually I had it a couple different places when I was doing it, but it ended up there and I liked it. And then this little collage down here worked, and this trim here worked really well, and then that trim worked well. And you think about things like you try to balance. Like I have a darker green here and there, so it's not all clumped in one. Each little motif has its own little prettiness about it. So you just kind of build it as you go, and that's the playing, and that's a lot of fun. So I hope you come play with me, and for January we're going to play with brown and red. So I'm going to start with these. And I've pulled some other fabrics and trims. I show that all in the getting ready video out of my collection. And what I've already done, I changed my mind about the backing. I found this piece after that video, and with the leaves on it and my plan, this was actually a really good choice. So I layered the backing fabric with the wrong side up. I put my scrap of batting on top of it, and then with my cardboard template that I made a few videos ago, I laid it down on them, and I cut them with the rotary cutter just carefully around, because this is the size I want to make all my blocks. I again covered that in the previous video, and I didn't say, but I'll put all 3 links in the description of this video. Okay, let's play. On the batting and the backing, I'm going to lay out pieces of fabric that will be my background. I don't actually know what it's going to look like at the moment, so this is what we're going to play. And I won't put all of every minute of making this on video. But I thought some of it might be helpful. When I'm auditioning, and that's what I call it, when I audition, let's see, I'll put this piece up here just for fun to start. That doesn't mean it's going to stay there. When I audition things, and not yet, but eventually I will have pieces around. How I can tell that it's going to be exactly what I like, and well, maybe not exactly, that's too strong a word, but what I like is I kind of just listen to, this is going to sound woo-hoo-y, but my heart sings a little bit. It kind of just goes, ooh, or something to that effect. I don't know. It's not a real sound it makes. It's just a feeling I get. And I've learned to listen to that sound or listen for it to guide me along the way, because it's usually right. It's the thing in the end that I know I will like. So it's not something, it's just something you should sort of teach yourself to listen for those instinctual, because you have them. You have instincts of what you know exactly is what's good for you. And then that helps you build, because it's not a scary thing to play. You're playing. It's fabric. Even if you stitch it, you can unstitch it. The effort that you put into it, it's worth taking it out to make you happier. So it's playing. We're playing. We're having fun. Okay, so I should mention that you do your brown and red however you are inspired to do it. But as soon as I thought brown and red, even though these look like sweet cookies or something, when I thought brown and red, my main motif, and it never left me, it just went right to my brain, and that was it, was a maple tree in fall colors. So I drew myself a little tree. That's going to be my main motif, and I even have these great fabrics for my collection. This red has these leaves on it, and this looks like the bark of a tree. So those are going to be my main, those fabrics are going to make this main motif of mine. And so that goes into the planning of the background. Where do I want this main motif? Now, the top is going to be red, the bottom is going to be this brown, so that's also something to keep in mind, because when I want my main motif for this to be here on the bottom right. So right down here, I don't want a dark brown fabric because the trunk won't show. And right here, I don't want red, or it'd have to be something totally different kind of red, because I want the leaves of the tree to show. So I'm going to keep that in mind as I'm building my background. So I don't know, I'm going to pull, I have a tray of different pieces of fabric over here, and I'm just going to pull some pieces and see what happens. Let's see, this also has brown and red, which suits. Let's put it over like so. I'm also mostly going to build up past the edge so that I can trim down. But if that doesn't happen, like this one goes almost perfectly across, you know, more than likely I'm going to have some kind of trim on the edge anyways. So this is pretty good light. It's brown, but at least it's lighter so that the trunk would still stand up over it. You'd see the trunk. How's that? Maybe this way. And this is another brown and red fabric I have. Oh, I do kind of have a little bit of a plan here. It's not solidified yet, so I'm not sharing it, but I think I want to do something with these little sweet polka dots in brown and red that I have. We'll see. It's thinking about it. Okay, so maybe that there. maybe. Okay, so if that's the trunk, then that works for that too. And as long as that, if I put red here, I'm trying to do some kind of balance. I don't have enough red here at the moment. I also like that. Let's see. Maybe this piece. Maybe. Yeah, that would work. Okay. Cut myself a piece from that. I'm a bit of a cheapskate when it comes to fabric. I don't love to just cut up things in case I don't use it, and then you're limited as to how you can use it later. So I'll wait to cut that until I'm more sure. And a deep brown would actually have something else, maybe. Ooh. Actually, I kind of like that. Yes, I do kind of like that. And then, okay, I think maybe. It's still all a maybe. I think I'm going to put some kind of red here. I might have to, I didn't pull out as many reds as I want to be able to play with. No. Well, this one maybe. Yes, maybe that one. All right, I'm going to stop for now, and I'll bring you back in when I'm a little more sure of things. Hi, I'm back. I'm pretty sure this is how I'm going to piece my background. I'm going to live with it for a little bit, and then I'm going to, if I still like it as much, then like in an hour or two, then I will continue. But for now, I'm going to just go with this for now. I'm liking how the composition is going, the balance of things. I cut out some smaller pieces of my tree fabric so that I could lay them down here and give me an approximate of what that would look like too. I think this comes down further like that. And there's my tree there. I'm liking the way the reds go like that. I'm liking the balance of lights, the darks, and yeah, I think this is good. Oh, look what I did. I just cut off the corner of this, and it has some leaves. That's why I chose the fabric. It has leaves, so I think what I'm going to do is cut a few of these out and maybe lay them on the ground here like they fell off the tree. That's for later. That's in my little later packet. Yeah, so I'll come back and I'll show you how I'm going to base, because the next step is to base these down to the batting and the backing, and the stitching will come later, and deciding what goes on top and what goes underneath. And I'm gonna trim it up, of course, because it's a little fuzzy for me at the moment. But yeah, I think this is gonna be the base of my brown and red. I'm losing today's light, so I'm just going to show you what I've got so far. I'm going to need to wait until I get some sunshine again. I don't think it's tomorrow, but I need to do some iron pressing of some of this and turn over some edges. So I can't even baste it until that's done. But I got things trimmed, and I got my tree cut out. I took my template and cut it out. The paper, and then I laid that fabric down, and I turned the template over because I wanted it to look the way it was on the front. And if I On the back of the fabric, it's the opposite, so that's why I turned it over. I did my drawing of it with my chalk pencil on the back of the patch, so that there was none of that showing on the front. You can see where I cut it out. There's a little bit still around, so like I don't even have to worry about getting that off the front. It just was easy to do. And that's my tree, which I really like that. So this is what I've got so far. I'm really pleased, and I will continue the background video in as soon as I can, but you're all going to get it in one batch anyways, so it's more a me thing, scheduling, than anything. Plus I still have to get out today before it gets dark and get some more wood from the garage and put it in the mudrooms, but that's another me thing. Okay, back soon. Hi everybody, I'm back. I noticed in the first set of videos that it was a little too, the camera was too close, that you couldn't see the whole piece, so I've lifted up the camera a little bit. Now you can, which is also why I have a different background. Okay, I got some sunshine, so I was able to do the pressing of where my seams are going to be on top, and if you want raw edges, you can do raw edges. There's something actually quite charming about that, but on mine, I want folded over edges, which is why I did that. And I pressed them all and they're in place now. This is it. And I have a tip. When you have your background all set, or when you've got embellishments out that you think, laid out, that you think that's how you want to do them, take a picture with your phone if you can. You just need one picture, so that when you're going, you have to take it apart to, in my case, I had to press things and trim things. I had an easy time of figuring out how to put it back together just by referencing this picture. So that's my big tip. And I'm also going to say, when this block is completely basted, which is what this part of the video is about, I'm going to post a picture of it on the same day I put out the video on my Facebook Victoriana Quilt Designs page. And I'm hoping that in the comments of that post, you post pictures of your background when you're ready to post pictures. Okay, so basting, what I mean by basting is, and in this case I use white cotton thread, and I have a really, like a large cone of cotton thread that I bought a couple of decades ago, and it just continues to just feed me through the hole I made in this tin. Basting thread, which I use a lot. I love basting things instead of dealing with pins as I sew. So and the reason I suggest white is when you stitch, and then you change your mind and you take it out, if it's dark, or in the case of basting, you are going to take it out. If it's dark thread, it'll leave little fibers in your work. And, you know, I mean, I've tried to get some blue stuff out of white fibers before, and they just, I can't get them all out. So that's why I use white. It seems to not give me that problem at all. Okay, so what I mean by basting is just, I've got it all pinned where it's overlapping, and I'm gonna just do pretty big stitches, not huge stitches, but pretty big stitches along those edges to hold them in place while I do all the other stitching. And then when that edge is embellished or stitched on down, which is what we're going to cover next week, then I pull out the basting stitches at the time. So it's just a piece of cotton thread. I put a knot in the end, and I just, along the edge I want to keep down and in place, I just take stitches, maybe a 1/4 inch, something like that. And then once I have the stitching once all the basting is done across, then I can remove the pins. And when I'm doing sewing like the sewing something down or doing embroidery stitches. See, like that, you don't have to deal with that anymore once you have it basted. That's what I love about basting. You never have to deal with catching pins. Take that out. So it's just in and out, just a running stitch, just to hold it. I didn't plan it that way, but it was a good visual. Okay, and then along the edge, I also like to go around the edge just to hold it where I want it to be, so when it's being held while I'm stitching, it doesn't move. It pretty much stays. All right. Anyways, I just wanted, I'll hold that up a little closer to the camera so you can see the stitches. They're just big. They don't have to be pretty. You're going to be removing them afterwards. All right. Set up your backgrounds. Post your pictures if you can. And I will see you next week. We're going to cover stitching those seams down and start figuring out our embellishing. All right. Thanks for watching. Thanks for playing along.